Maria devastated Puerto Rico in September of last year, but the exact death toll is still a mystery. The Puerto Rican government lists the official death toll at 64. But a Harvard study last month put the number at more than 4,600. And the Center for Investigative Journalism tallied 985 deaths. A recent investigation by Quartz attempted to catalog and confirm the deaths due to Hurricane Maria. It found glaring inconsistencies in the way deaths are counted. Here to talk about what she found is Ana Campoy. She covers Latin America for Quartz and investigated those numbers. Ana, thanks so much for being with us. Let's start with the basic question. Why are there so many different sets of numbers?
There are so many different sets of numbers because from the start, it became clear that the government's number was really low. So based on reporting from morgues and hospitals, so reporters and researchers started compiling their own counts. Some of the numbers you see, like the Harvard study, for example, are based on an extrapolation of a few reported deaths. The CPI study, for example, is based on demographic data comparing last year's stats to previous years. What we did, and we were working with CPI too on this project, was record individual deaths. And we have verified 244 so far.
Well, why is the official number from the Puerto Rican government so much lower than everyone else's numbers?
The government's number only includes deaths that were certified to be linked to the hurricane using forensic and medical evidence. And in the chaos of the hurricane, very few bodies underwent that type of examination. The rest of the cases, the people who filled the death certificates were supposed to note in the death certificate whether a death was linked to the hurricane or not, but that didn't happen in practice.
Well, the Puerto Rican government said Tuesday it's going to release more data. What are you expecting to see in those numbers?
Earlier this year, the government commissioned a team from George Washington University to do an independent and objective investigation on the number of deaths. We really, at this point, don't know what that is going to entail. The results were supposed to be released in May, and we haven't seen anything. So at this point, it's unclear when we'll see anything coming out of that investigation.
Well, is anything being done to standardize the methodology in counting deaths in a disaster in the future?
Here in the U.S., there are no standards at the federal level because recording death is a local responsibility, but the CDC does have guidelines that local jurisdictions could follow. And in fact, the Puerto Rican government said that it issued those guidelines, though, by examining the death certificates, we can tell that, people didn't follow them. Internationally, there's a push to standardize the way countries record damage after disasters, including deaths. And it's still early days for that, but it would be very helpful to understand the causes of death and to prevent them in the future.
Well, finally, lawmakers on Capitol Hill Thursday introduced legislation to establish a commission to look into the federal government's response to Hurricane Maria. Could that potentially provide some additional clarity on these numbers?
I think so. I think it's really important for them to look into what happened and to determine where the process broke down so that in the future, FEMA and the Puerto Rican government can be better prepared than this time around.
Right. Ana Campoy, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.